You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. I'm raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. That's Mello. That's Sean. Tonight, got a pretty good show for you, man. Just a quick reminder. You guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
What's that say?
National champions.
Yeah. You're
Natty,
right.
baby.
You're damn right. National champs.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I'm talking about. How you guys doing? How you doing, Mello?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back, man. Had a busy weekend in Dallas. A lot of soccer. It was cold out there, man. It was brutal a little bit. So I'm happy to be back in warmer weather.
Well, the rumor when you were gone, people weren't seeing you. They thought you took a job at ESPN as an analyst, and I was like, "Nah, dude." He told him no.
We no. ESPN Buckeye Boys, baby.
Gotta stay with the Buckeye Boys, baby. Sean, what about you, bro? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Had a great weekend with my daughter. Got to chill with her.
Amen. You can't beat it, dude. Family, man. Most important thing on the face of this earth.
Hey, guys, let me show you something quick. My daughter got me this for Valentine's Day, man. It's an autographed Pete Johnson jersey.
Oh, back it up so we can see the whole number.
The old 33.
Yeah,
I like that, dude.
He was an All-American fullback that blocked for Archie Griffin and played for the Bengals.
Nice.
Dude. You gotta
frame it.
Frame it.
Yep.
Well, fellas, Ryan Day's not done. Been doing some boss moves here lately. There's starting to be some winter workout buzz come out of the Woody. And we're not going to talk about it on this video, but I just want to give a little teaser, dude. Tyler Bowen, our new offensive line coach. Get ready, Buckeye Nation. You wanted a recruiter, you got one, man. I'll be dropping a video tomorrow. I don't know if one of these gentlemen are going to join me or not. We'll see. But either way, there's going to be a video coming out explaining why. But you should be very, very excited about our new offensive line coach. Ryan Day added to that arsenal of offensive line. He's obviously paying a lot of attention to a certain position group on this team, and I am loving it. It's the number one position group that us Buckeye fans have wanted more attention to be put on for I don't know how long now. Pretty darn long time. Of course, you got some players stepping up, man. We got some more a funny little Matt Patricia nugget today that we'll be sharing. And then we're going to go over the offense, man. Players we got and some elite new offensive skilled players that we got. They're not new, but we really haven't seen them much in action. So we'll dive right into it. But first, I want to ask you guys on the note of Tyler Bowen. Have you guys know what I'm talking about? Have you guys been seeing all the news about the offensive lineman he's been reaching out to and calling and texting and offering? You guys been seeing all that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's pretty good stuff, isn't it?
It sure is, man. I'm super excited. I know we're going to start landing kids. Obviously, law of probability, the more you offer, the higher probable chance that you're going to land some of these kids.
Yeah, 100%. And I would bet you that he sends out twice the number of offers. And also he's an elite relationship builder, but we'll get into that later. But I want to start with this, man. I want to start with this funny little Matt Patricia nugget. One of the things he was known for as a defensive coordinator, a lot of the NFL players that played for him kind of laugh about this and joke about it, but it's very serious to him. And that is that he's known for in some of his practices to tape the hands of DBs that get a little handsy during the games, right? He studies offenses. He knows if an offense is going to try to exploit that, just like how many offenses did that to us this year with Iggy throwing his way on third down, on fourth down, because they pretty much knew there's a 50% chance Iggy's going to get handsy, right? So that's what's being talked about right now. In the Woody, what Matt P's got in store for Iggy, because they believe he can be a Tim Walton recently, talked about Iggy, believes he can be a first-round draft pick. But he's got to clean that up. And bringing Matt P in and doing that. I know they tried that this year, but let's just be honest, it really didn't work. It just kept happening, man. Iggy's a good defender at the catch point, but gets a little handsy sometimes. Mello, your thoughts?
I think he shouldn't, like you're saying for the past season, punch early, bell. He has fluid hips. He's quick. He's fast. He can keep up with any wide receiver. He just needs to get his head around. I think it is repetition. So tape his hand. That's what you want to do. Make him wear the boxing gloves. I don't care. Just have him taking a whole lot of reps where he can't use his hands. Gotcha.
Sean, before you get real fast, I guess Mark Pollitt changed his name to the Doodah Man. So don't, the FBI is looking for him or something. Don't tell anybody that's Mark. Doodah Man is now Mark. Yeah. But don't tell anybody.
Mark,
what's up, Mark?
Mean it.
All right, Sean, your thoughts on getting old Iggy's hands taped up?
Well, I think the most frustrating thing about Iggy is he's always in position. He doesn't need to be grabbing. And that's what frustrated us the most last year, is because he was always in good position. If you just got his head around, you'd have had 3 or 4 more interceptions. So, yeah. I mean, they put the big mitts on him last year, and at times it seemed like it helped, and he'd fall back into it. So if they got to do it every week, I'm for it if it helps them.
Yeah. Hey, man, I got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, Mello had this from the jump. He was talking about this before the season even started, about the number one thing that Iggy needed to do was get his head around this year. That was the number one thing. Interestingly enough, because our DB room is absolutely loaded, Aaron Scott, Bryce West, there's a lot of, I believe we got a lot of depth there, a lot of skilled depth. People keep mentioning Iggy going to safety. And I'll just tell you my thoughts real fast. No way in a million years is that going to happen. It's not going to happen. The Iggy is now I understand like the take and the want, and I might even say, hey, yeah, give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? But there's just no way Iggy's going to come back his last year and change positions. It just, I don't see it happening at all. Your guys' thoughts on that real quick?
I think if it was a desperation move, you got to do what you got to do, but I don't see it happening right away.
Yeah.
I agree with what Dev just said. He's not coming back to move to safety. It's just not going to happen. He's pretty elite at corner. He just needs to stop with the PI, really. And it's really unnecessary. And the only reason I was saying it for the longest because when I was up there at March and they were doing some drills, I saw it the entire time. I was like, man, this dude's going to get a lot of PIs.
Yeah, no doubt. And some people might mention Donovan Jackson. His situation was different, man. I mean, that's the same position group. He upped his draft stock by going and do that. You can do that in offensive line. NFL, they don't have much offensive linemen on their, travel roster. They don't bring many dressed offensive linemen. So a swing guard / tackle it's going to up your stock big time. Shout out everybody in the chat, man. Ken Taco, TG in the house, Steely, C-Dub, Robert, ABH, Russ, Vader, Dennis, the dude Dennis, man, about to be going on a cruise with him. We're going to the Washington game this year. That's going to be sick, dude. Mello, you got to come, Sean.
How much is he charging for the cruise, or is it free for us?
So he said it was free for us Buckeye boys. So he said he was going to buy our tickets to the game. He was going to buy our hotel room. He's going to buy us breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 days. He's going to give us some walking around money. And so that's what Dennis said. I don't know. I don't know. That's just
I'm on my way, Dennis. I'm going.
I am too.
Dennis did say that, dude. I don't know. Sorry, Dennis. I'm just playing, bro. No, Dennis is amazing, dude. I met him at the Oregon. He was so helpful, bro, telling me where to go, helped me get a hotel room, all that stuff. So he's an amazing dude. Dennis knows I'll be there. Can I buy tickets to the Washington game this early? Can you do
I
that?
don't know.
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
think you
thinking
can.
about it.
Look online. I think you can buy.
Because
I'm
I'm
thinking
doing it.
about
You know
going.
what I mean?
I'm
I'm
definitely
going.
going to the Texas game, man. I have to go there August 30th.
I wish I could. Man, I would
Yeah, I
be
know.
there.
You need to fix that.
I know, man, dude. It's in the process of being fixed. You know what I mean? $20,000 later.
We could put a disguise on you.
Yeah. No, dude, I know, bro.
Hey, if nobody's checked it out, man.
That would not.
If nobody checked it out, guys. Dennis did an interview with Eric Boggs that dropped today or yesterday, and it was fire, man. So go check that out on the Ohio podcast. He interviewed Dennis, and it was awesome. He did a great job.
Dude, nobody would recognize me in Ohio anyway. Last time I left there, I think it was 160 pounds.
Dude, you could just hop in my car and drive
beer.
up there.
Yeah. Hey, shoot, bro. That's tempting, man. I will be at every away game next year, though. That's for sure. Definitely will be, man. I'm excited. Probably stay in Washington for maybe like a week, go hiking around, stuff like that. Again, I'm obsessed with that. So, yeah. Dude, I went camping last weekend, and I itched a scratch, and it's over with now. Shoot, I might go.
What happened with
Cujo?
Did he go?
No, man. So I got him already. You know what I mean? And this campground I went to, this is a squirrel moment, but I got to tell you, this family bought this campground. And on this campground, it's like you're on a farm. Like I woke up one morning and there was a potbelly pig staring me in the face right outside my tent, right? There's chickens and pigs and goats running around everywhere. They got horses and donkeys and all that stuff. But they were so excited to see Cujo. Right when I got there, they were like, "Oh, where's Cujo? Where's Cujo?" Couldn't bring him, man. I put him in a cage in the back of the truck, and the second I started the truck and took off, dude, he tripped, flipped out, man, started trying to get out, and dude, he would have been in the back of the truck flipping for 2 hours. So I couldn't do it to him. So I bought him a new cage, a blackout cage. You know what I mean? To be able to take him those places, because I hate leaving him here by himself, but he's all good. But anyway, obviously, Scoop dropped a nugget on their board today. If you are not part of Buckeye Scoop message board, I do not get anything for saying this. I'm telling you right now, you listen to the YouTube shows, you hear nuggets, you hear things before you hear anywhere else. That's just a fact. Whether you like them, whether you don't like them, there's no way around that. They have not missed on who coaches were and whatever, and they're always the first ones to do it. Well, it gets on the message board before they talk about it on their show. So you should get it's worth the money, man. It's amazing. But they dropped a little nugget on there today about there's going to be a lot of these nuggets about updates on certain players. I've heard several already, but we're just going to talk about the two that they talked about. We've talked about this first one, Mylan Graham, over and over again, 5-star wide receiver. He came late this year, which is kind of what put him behind, which is why we didn't see him get on the field. But he will not be kept off the field next year. It will be impossible for Mylan Graham not to get meaningful playing time next year. He's a 4.4 type of speed. He's a 5-star receiver. He gets compared to Chris Olave, and Chris Olave was a decent receiver, so we want him to.
He was all right.
Just a little, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he really reminds me of myself when I was younger. But anyway, Mello, what's your thoughts?
Hold up, before we go, shout out to Duda Man for the 50. This is to help Dennis to pay for you freeloaders.
My dude, Mark. Thanks, bro, man. Hey, we need them. I'm gonna be honest, man. We need a little bit more than 50. Everybody in the chat, man. We're gonna need more than 50. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
no, I'm just joking. Appreciate you,
my
Mark.
thoughts on Mylan is he's electric. We've already known that. We've talked about it several times, Dev. I think he is going to be on the field. I think we're going to see more rotation, especially now that Hartline is the OC, because I don't see a world where Bryson Rodgers doesn't get playing time, Mylan Graham doesn't get some playing time, and we already, in my opinion, Brandon Ennis is starting at the slot. So it's going to be a great competition, great battle. Iron sharpens iron. They're going to get the DBs ready because the DB is not going to face any better wide receivers the entire year.
I think Graham gives them something that the other receivers don't. He can take the top off big time. I mean, he's a legitimate, track star out there, a burner. So, I mean, that's going to be hard to keep him off the field. I would even like to see him get, chances to return kicks and punts myself.
Yeah. We're going to go through the receivers again. Me and Mello did a show on that already, but this one's going to be more towards the entire offense we're going to see next year. But when you hear the list of receivers, I'm very intrigued to see the rotation this year, because a name we're not hearing is Bryson Rodgers, but Bryson is at that level, folks. He's at the level of an Emeka Egbuka, of a Mylan Graham. He's just there. And he just doesn't have that big 5-star name that came in, dude. But I'm telling you right now, the dude's an elite receiver. So the next guy, we've talked about him on here several times, but I heard a little something about him a couple days ago, and then got brought back up again. That's K-Mac, Caden McDonald, the big-time recruit out of Georgia. Was like Georgia Defensive Player of the Year there. Georgia didn't want him because he wasn't quite tall enough. He's listed at 6'3". The dude is 6 foot tall. Might be 6'1", maybe. I've seen him in person, okay? So, but needless to say, he's an absolute boss. What I heard a couple days ago was more on to why he didn't get that many snaps last year. We all remember Tyleik Williams and how he struggled with his conditioning last year, or the year before this last year. You know what I'm saying? K-Mac's in that same boat, man. He really struggled to play more than 2 or 3 snaps in a row. His conditioning was not the best. So, not that they're worried about that inside the Woody, but that is his number one thing. They are on him like no other. Like, they're on top of him. They want him to step up and be a leader in that room. Look at our defensive line. Somebody's going to have to step up and be that dude. The staff really would love it to be Caden McDonald to step up. He's very vocal, but you got to be the leader on the field before you can be a vocal leader. So he's got to get his conditioning up so he can stay on the field for all 4 downs, so he can be an all 4 down tackle. That doesn't mean I want him to play 50 or 60 snaps in a game. Please, dear Lord Jesus, don't do that to the poor man. But Sean, your thoughts?
I think him and Edric Houston together in that middle could really cause havoc this year if he can get his conditioning under control. If he can get his stamina up, I think there's no reason why those guys can't shut the middle down. And we have another great rush defense like we had last year.
Yeah. I mean, I have the utmost confidence that our conditioning and our strength and conditioning, we got the best strength and conditioning coach in the nation. He's going to get him right. He got Tyleik right this year. Yep. And Tyleik looked pretty darn good. So, Mello?
I'm just be honest, man. People think I'm crazy. I'm just going to say it. Remember, Buckeye, where you heard it first, man, our D-line is going to be better than last year's. I'm just going to go ahead and jump off that cliff and die on that hill. That's what I truly believe. I believe K-Mac's going to be equivalent to Tyleik. I think Edric's going to be better than Ty Hamilton. And I think we're going to get more sacks in terms of speed pass rushing. I want to see how they're going to use C.J. Hicks. I want to see how they're going to use the linebackers to help in the run stopping game, because I think that's where we'll lose a little bit on the edge. But I think in everything else, in terms of pass rushing, we're gaining. So I'm expecting our D-line to be even better than last year's.
Dude, I love that take, man. It's kind of what we've been talking about here on the Buckeye Boys, and that's that fine line of, yeah, we know we just saw one of the best defenses ever in college football this past year, but if you watched me and B Moses last night, we just went down the list of the players we have on this team. It's stupid ridiculous. Like, yeah, Edric Houston, like you said, Bello, if they play up to their potential, which they're being coached by the best defensive line coach in the country, it's not up for debate.
Right.
I love that take, Mello. Yeah, you heard it here first, Mello from the Buckeye Boys. Defensive line, more productive and better than last year's. So I love it, man. So speaking of offensive line, I talked about Tyler Bowen and his recruiting chops and how Ryan Day is really focusing in on a certain position group. It feels like lost Justin Fry to the Arizona Cardinals. Wow, what are we going to do? We're going to lose recruits. We're going to lose the Ohio guys now. Well, be careful what you say, because I think this is a blessing in disguise as far as recruiting goes. Development is to be determined, but you want some help on a development line. What does Ryan Day do? He goes out and he hires 2 former offensive line coaches that have coached at Purdue, Missouri, Mississippi State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Utah. These guys both have been offensive line coaches at those schools. The first one, Marcus Johnson, Purdue, Missouri, Mississippi State, was the offensive line coach there. And then Charlie Dickey, offensive line coach, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Utah. So don't know much information about those guys. Didn't have time to really. This just broke. I read it over there on Letterman Row first, then I heard Scoop talk about it. And Sean brought it up to me, reminded me of it right before I came on the show. So I don't have a lot of information other than that, but it's clear that Ryan Day goes out and hires 2 senior analysts that were offensive line coaches. Now, we lost all our offensive line coaches this year. We lost our offensive line coach, our assistant offensive line coach, and then, oh no, we haven't heard about, have we heard about dude yet? Who's the other?
No,
Yeah.
we haven't.
I think
No
he's going
news
to
yet.
leave.
It sounds, because it
These are the hires.
sounds like he's gone. Sounds like
Yeah.
he's gone. If you're going to go out and hire 2 former O-line coaches, Drevno's probably going with Chip in some form or fashion. Mello, your thoughts on Ryan Day with boss moves? Oh, what's his
Listen,
Dennis?
Ryan Day, I'm telling you, ever since last year's after the Cotton Bowl, it's been a different Ryan Day. I love this version of Ryan Day. We're in great hands as Buckeyes fans. You guys should enjoy this. This is only going to be a certain limited time period that we're going to be riding this wave where I believe we're going to be king of the hill for a while. I think we're entering a dynastic phase of the program. And I think by the end of next year, end of next season, we'll be calling this place O-Line U. So get ready, get your popcorn, enjoy it, because no one stays on top forever, but we're in that wave right now. So grab your surfboards and get ready.
Dang, dude. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dennis. Ohio State's in line to hire Wendy Larent as an analyst. He played for Penn State from 2012 to 2016.
Block for Saquon.
Yep.
Dang, bro. Ryan Day is not playing, bro. He played in 34 games for the Lions. He's a teammate. Oh, he was a teammate at Penn State with new Ohio State quarterbacks coach Billy Fessler. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was I guess Billy was a quarterback for the Nittany Lions from 2014 to 2017. I didn't know that.
So I want to ask you guys, how many Infinity Stones does Ryan Day already collected at this point?
You guys know what I like about this, though, is they got the young recruiter guy in Bowen. Now they got the old Grizzly vet, 2 old Grizzly vet guys that are really development coaches. I'm not saying Bowen can't develop guys, because he can, but he's a real good recruiter too. So you're going to have all aspects covered now with these, and you can hire as many coaches as you want. So you're going to have guys there that are going to be able to work with guys on development that are older, that just want to coach. Then you're going to have these younger guys that love to recruit and are good at recruiting, that can go out on the road and, connect with these younger guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's something we've talked about forever since the NCAA changed that rule here on the Buckeye Boys. We've always said, dude, those 10 countable coaches need to be your recruiters, right? Because you can go out and hire as many coaches as you need for the development side of things. And, if you got to question Bowen's ability to develop offensive linemen, we'll go out and hire an offensive lineman and 2 offensive line coaches, and I think you got your development covered. That's even more telling that Drevno might be gone.
Yeah.
Which I would if Drevno's staying, dude, you talk about some serious punch on the offensive line, man. I'm telling you, a lot of these offensive line recruits, if you go listen to a lot of their interviews and stuff, man, dude, he's ridiculous, dude. They love him. They absolutely love him, man. So, where was we at?
You want to answer this question by John?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So here's where I'm at with do either you guys want to start first?
Yeah, so the question John has for those who are not watching on YouTube, LaCharles Bentley going to be allowed to do anything? So what I believe LaCharles Bentley's role is exactly what you saw Carson Hintzman doing. He'll come in, they'll go up to his facility. He'll come down every once in a while, run them through the paces, through his drills, using the technology that he invented and created and patented. And that will be mostly his role. And also, you got to remember the secret role, which this is just speculation, people. So don't be going calling the rules infraction committee or anything on Ohio State. I believe since he works with the most elite linemen from all around the country, maybe Ohio State will get the first dibs and first crack at recruiting those kids. He also has an agency, so he goes and represents these kids as well as they go throughout their careers. So, I mean, there's a lot he can do that's not just on the field.
Oh, he can also help these.
Go ahead, Sean.
Sorry, Devin. He can also help these kids with their diets. I mean, he specializes in everything offensive line that gets these kids in tip-top shape, not only physically but mentally too, man. I mean, he works with these kids on all aspects of their game. I mean, if there's one thing, he'll sit there and he'll look and be like, okay, this guy needs help with his drop step. He can zero in on that. This kid, needs help getting stronger. He can help the kid do that. I mean, he's that good at what he does. And I think that's the role he'll play.
So Mello mentioned LaCharles also has an agency. Well, Charles Bentley will not train somebody unless they agree that he is their agent. Got that from somebody over there on Scoop told me that, who knows LaCharles pretty closely. But LaCharles thinks pretty much what Mello said. When you saw LaCharles Bentley at Oregon this year training their offensive line and stuff like that, and he makes a pretty penny to do that. Unfortunately, the relationship got a little soured between LaCharles and Ohio State with Justin Fry there. There's no other way to put it. That's a fact. Did not see eye to eye. LaCharles, Justin Fry did not want LaCharles Bentley anywhere near his offensive line. We don't know why that is, but that's not a secret. That is not speculation that he didn't want him anywhere near it. So there's a bad taste there right now, and that might be holding things up a little bit. And it's my understanding that it's exactly like Mello said, man. The only difference is, so he'll be in a role like he went and helped Oregon. He'll still go help Oregon, except he'll get paid. He'll come help Ohio State too for free. You know what I mean? So Mello, I agree with you. That is speculation on my part, but I've also heard that from other people that I've talked to.
I'm talking about speculation on why he wasn't allowed to. I said speculate. Basically, people can read between the lines and think about it. Not what you're saying. Yeah. What you're saying is 100% facts.
Yeah. So, real fast, Mika, Evan Goodwin will be joining the show on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. Come on here. We're going to be his first interview ever, so I'm excited about that. Mika, also, this gentleman will be coming on the show as well. So we're reaching out to all these offensive linemen. I'm really talking to them, asking about Bowen. So got a lot of good information there. All right, here we go. Let's dive into it.
Super chat.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Bullet Train, for the $5. What's good, team? OH.
I-O.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for the super chats. Part of our super chats will go to Teen Challenge, a nonprofit organization, faith-based discipleship program that helps people that struggle with drug addiction or any life-controlling issues through the power of Jesus. And then the other portion will go to Mello. You fill them in.
Oh, my bad. I was reading the comment. It's going to go to help out homeless vets, get them off the street. They served and gave all, or mostly all. Some have given all and gave their lives for this country. So I don't believe that we should have homeless vets sleeping on park benches and under bridges and in tent cities, as they call them. I just think it's ridiculous, honestly, the way they're being treated, and they're not getting the mental help that they need or just the basic necessities in life to survive.
Amen, man.
Amen.
Karis, thank you so much for being a member for 2 months. They said, hey, all love the off-season moves. Absolutely, dude. Ryan Days, like Mello hinted at earlier, he's just collecting them infinity stones, man. Collecting them things, dude. So Moving on, we touched on the defense yesterday with B. Moses, talked about what it's going to look like. Now we're going to go down through what we think our offense is going to look like. Karis, thank you so much for the $4.99 for the cause. Amen. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Most definitely do.
Shout out to Karis.
And his wife, Beth. Both of them are always on there.
Karis and Beth. Yeah. All right, wide receivers. Here we go. Now there's more players, there's more wide receivers, there's more tight ends, running backs, O-line, and quarterbacks on this team than I'm going to list. I'm only listing the ones that are going to make an impact, just to put it bluntly. But wide receiver, JJ, we all know about him. He's decent. Mylan Graham, we just talked about him, 4.4, 40-yard dash type of guy. Brandon Ennis, we know about him. Bryson Rogers, Carnell Tate. Demarion Witten, recruited as a tight end, big old dude, 6'4". He's right now in the wide receiver room. Extremely talented, very raw when it comes to being a wide receiver and learning those things. But he has the physical attributes and the speed and the quickness and the agility to make an impact. But I think he's more developmental. Quincy Porter, we've talked about him over and over again. He's the number 3 overall wide receiver in the 2025 class, number 20 overall player, absolute beast. Bobpin Miller, I also just listed all the new guys we got. Bobpin Miller, 6'4", 180. He runs a 4.4 as well, an absolute, probably one of the most athletically gifted people on Ohio State's roster, and that is a statement. That's a mouthful to say.
Project, though.
Yeah. Phillip Bell, who used to be the number 1 receiver in the 2025 class, and then on 3 and 247 heard that Ohio State was probably going to get him, so they really shot him down the charts, just to put it bluntly. But Phillip Bell's a beast, dude.
Yes,
and then Desi Jones. Here's my starters: JJ, Brandon Ennis, and Carnell Tate. But I don't know how you're going to keep Mylan Graham, Bryson Rogers, and Quincy Porter off the field, to be quite honest with you. Quincy Porter might be a little bit easier to keep him off. He's a freshman. You got to learn a lot of, you got to come in. I don't know if he came in early or not. If he doesn't come in early, you're going to see a Mylan Graham situation. If he comes in early, I expect to see him in on meaningful snaps. He is that good.
He's already here.
Oh, he's been here? Well, then watch out. Watch out. So those are my players. We got plenty of depth. We do not need to go in the portal. Brian Hartline will not go in the portal anyway.
Nope.
I don't care who comes up in the portal and who wants to come. Keep them away. We don't want you. I don't care how good you are. If you didn't sign with Ohio State out of high school, you're not going to be a wide receiver here. Better luck next time.
I agree with everything you said, so it was pretty easy for me to do the wide receiver tape.
Yeah. C-Dub, member for 1 month. Thank you so much. Great cause, Bello. Take care of our vets. Absolutely, man, dude.
Appreciate you, C-Dub.
Yep. Mark, the Doodah Man, member for 2 months. Keep up the great work, guys. Appreciate you. We wouldn't do this without y'all, man. So you guys are just as much a part of this as we are. Taco, what's up, Buckeye boys? Keep doing what you do. OH.
I-O.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Mello, do you agree with me on the starters and the portal and all
I
that?
agree with everything. I would just add, I don't know if you said Bryson Rogers, but I will add his name to it as well. But
Gotcha.
I just want to see how they're going to rotate. You have to keep all these dudes happy. Obviously, Optimus is getting a bulk of everything because so much attention is going to be to him that everybody else is going to eat. But I say rotate and let's just run the numbers up this year.
I mean, I think we could even go 4 wide if we really wanted to, but I know we don't really need to. But I think we go 6 deep with a good rotation. I mean, JJ probably gets the most snaps like he should, and Carnell, then Ennis, but get those other guys in there too. It's gonna be hard to keep Rogers and Graham off the field.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm very curious to see, and especially another thing that's going to change the rotations this year is Brian Hartline's going to be calling plays. So is Jordan going to be taking over the rotations? Who's going to do that? I'll tell you this: Brian Hartline will not be able to do rotations and play calling at the same time. It's not going to happen. There's no way.
He's probably going to be up in the box, isn't he? I'd imagine.
I don't know. I just don't.
Brian
Hartline.
See, I don't know either.
I don't think he will be, man. I honestly don't. I think he's going to stick somebody up there he trusts. I think you might see Keenan Bailey up there. You might see Billy Fessler up there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but that's a definitely probably another
That's a
show
great-
topic that we can dive
'cause
into some
that's
other
something
time.
to figure out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the rotations, but we're locked and loaded and stacked,
Okay.
and eventually we're gonna have JJ, Chris Henry Jr., and Quincy Porter on the field at the same time, and we will literally be unstoppable. Tight end, okay. Tight end, Jelani, athletic freak. Bennett Christian, I think, is going to be, he's being talked about big time in winter workouts right now. He is becoming a big time leader on this team, vocally, physically, the whole 9 yards. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Will Kazmarek was one of my guys that I called could potentially be a captain here. I haven't heard much on him, but solid tight end. Nate Roberts is a new guy that we signed. Brody Lennon. You never know. Nate Roberts is pretty well physically ready, and he's a darn good tight end to come in and make an impact. But we're pretty loaded in the tight end room. Max LeBlanc, 6'4", 230 pounds. They love him in there. He's sticking around, more developmental player, though. And then, of course, we got Max Clare. I think me and Mello do not agree on this, but I think Max Clare is the starter. And he's just going to be absolutely dynamic. And I think we have the best tight end room in the nation. We didn't even need to go in the portal, but when the number one tight end in the portal reaches out to you and asks to come to your school, you don't say no.
No.
Andy's
Especially
a
when you're,
Cincinnati kid, isn't he? He's from
yeah, that's what I'm
Cincinnati.
saying. Yeah. He wanted to come here. He wasn't going anywhere else. If called Ohio State, if you'll take me, I'm coming. Well, yeah, we're gonna take you, dude. So, Sean, your thoughts?
I disagree with Mello. I think Max Clare is going to be the starter. And just look at what he did at Purdue when he was the only weapon they had, and everybody could key on him. He still put up those numbers. He is such a polished route runner. I mean, he is so good high pointing the ball. And if you look, teams aren't going to be able to – he's going to be a matchup nightmare for other teams because they're going to be keying in on JJ, Carnell, and Brandon Ennis. Max is going to have single coverage against a safety or a linebacker all day. And, I mean, this is going to be the first time that we have an all-American type tight end in a long time, boys.
So for me, obviously I disagree with both of you on who's going to be the starter. But that's all base. Like, I think you guys are reasonable to say what you're saying. I'm saying Jelani, if he – from when I talked to his cousin, if he's as locked in as his cousin says, it doesn't matter what Max Clare does. He's not faster than him. He's not taller than him. He doesn't weigh more than him. His routes, we could throw up his high school routes where they broke every state record in Georgia, and Georgia high school is no joke. If Jelani's locked in, there's nothing nobody can do. He's the best tight end in the entire country, period. And it won't really be that close. He's just a freak. He's basically the equivalent of Darnell Washington at tight end. So that's why I'm saying if Jelani's as locked in as he's saying, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. You're not keeping him off the field because you can't grow 3 inches and put on 30 pounds and run a 4.5 40 like he can with massive hands. So that's why I'm saying Jelani's locked in. It don't matter, and it will show. But if he's not locked in, then yes, I would agree Max Clare will be the starter. So that's where I'm coming from talking to his cousin and his cousin telling me how locked in he is. Because at the time, people were talking about he's thinking about transfer. No, he's thinking about taking that number one spot. So that's why I went there. And I also think we do have the best tight end room in America. So for everybody talking about Keenan Bailey shouldn't have got promoted, Keenan Bailey hits on all his targets. That's just what he does. He doesn't really miss. So,
yeah. Just to keep a little debate going, where I'm at, Mello, is I agree if he stays focused and changes something. Why I think Max is going to be the starter is because I guess it just comes down to having faith that Jelani's going to do it. Because here's why. When you're that skilled and you're that physically gifted and you're already not on the field more, I think there's a big time mental blocker that just doesn't seem to be getting over that mental blocker. And right now, if I'm honest, I question whether he ever will. Now, love the kid, pray that he does, hope that he does. But when you're that physically gifted, and I agree with everything you said about if he locks in, he could easily be the best tight end in the nation. He's that gifted physically to do it. But the fact that he hasn't already is where I'm held up. That's why I'm not saying that. You are leaning more towards you got the faith he's going to do it, right? And that's perfectly understandable.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're right.
I can see, though, 100% where depending on the game plan, I mean, if you look at this, if you look at our tight ends, you could have a debate whether it's going to be Will Kazmarek, Jelani, or Max Clare starting. You know what I mean? You could throw all those in. I think it depends on the game plan, the type of defense you're about to be playing. You could see Jelani starting a couple games and then maybe rotating. But I totally understand your take with Jelani. It's not a bad take to say that at all. But that's just where I'm at. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I get that. But you also, another thing you got to think about it, he's young. He's coming from a state where he didn't have to work that hard. You know what I'm saying? He's not used to that grind. He was super young. So now, if you put Jelani, his mom played in the WNBA. His dad is Odell Thurman, was a big-time linebacker in the NFL. I mean, if he's locked in like his cousin said, I'm just telling you, there's nobody keeping off that field. Nobody.
Yeah.
Not Max Clare, not freaking Nick Saban, not Kirby Smart. Nobody's keeping off that field.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I guess right now I'm just on the I'm with Jelani. I'm at show me. Same place. Same place I'm at with CJ Hicks. Show me. You know, so what I'm
Jelani,
saying?
you hear this? Devin is challenging you. I know Kirk feels the same way. I know Nevada. I know Chris Drew and Zach Smith all feel the same way. Like, I'm the only one having your back, man. Don't let me down. Go out here and prove these cats wrong so that way we can show them what Georgia's all about.
Nah, homie, I got your back, bro. You can do it, Jelani. You can do it, bro. All right. Sean, you got anything to add to that?
I mean, if you look, Bennett Christian ended up being the best blocking tight end last year by the end of the year.
Not at the end of the season. You better go rewatch those playoff games. Jelani pancaking fools.
I mean, so was Bennett Christian. They were putting him back as a lead blocker.
PFF had Bennett Christian as the best tight end blocker if you pay attention to PFF. But yeah, you go watch
throughout the season. Yeah, but I'm saying by the end of the season, Jelani was laying heads off.
Yeah, but no, that's cool. I almost threw Bennett's name in with tight ends that could start. I almost did, but I didn't because we're stacked in that room. It's kind of wild, man. That's what I'm saying. People keep talking about, dang, man, we're going to take a drop off next year. And then you go through like we're going, it's just like,
where?
Yeah.
The only spot I could see a drop off really realistically is the running back room. But James Peoples, that dude is different.
I know. Yeah. And maybe quarterback for a couple games, like for a couple games.
Maybe
you know
half a game, 2 games, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But here we go. Running backs. James People, Sam Williams-Dixon, Turbo Rogers, who is a lightning bolt 4.4 type of speed, fits in the category of Sam Williams-Dixon with more of a smaller gadget type player. They're really talking about Turbo playing in the slot sometimes and also a running back. So he's going to be an absolute weapon, man. I would have been stoked to see what dang, who was our offensive coordinator last year? Chip would have done with Turbo. But Bo Jackson talked about being one of the most college ready running backs that we signed. Isaiah West, keep sleeping if you want. CJ Donaldson, I've heard a couple interesting takes there. People aren't really excited about him. They don't have a lot of faith. I'm not even close to near that. I love the plan that they have for this dude. He's already losing weight. So when you put, and they don't have faith because they look at his film at West Virginia. Okay. But when you put a player like that up against Ohio State's defense in practice, they take that next step. They take that next level. And I think that's what you're about to see from CJ Donaldson. And I think, get excited about him, you know, and I think people compare him to when Quinshon Judkins came here. They're not as excited, but shoot, man, 6'2", 238 pounds, probably going to drop down to 225. You lose that 13 pounds, he's going to be a little bit faster. So
my
watch out, man.
Real quick before you move on, it pertains to exactly what you just finished saying. Do you want him to lose that much weight? I mean, you got to think about it, right? we had Will Howard size. Ryan Day already came out and said what put him over the top, besides just his intelligence, was that fact that if it was 4th and 2, he knew he could get it. So now we don't have Will Howard. Julian is going to be about 225, but do you want to risk injuring Julian on QB sneaks, or do you want to just hand it to a big back, a true thunder back, and let him go get a couple of yards? Because if you look, he only has 4 games over 100 yards, but he has over 21 plus TDs in his career, which means he's scoring and he's hitting the short goal line. So in my opinion, I don't know if I want him to lose that much weight. I want him to maybe lose 5 pounds, but I want him to still be big. What do you think?
Well, I think you can go either way, and everybody's going to have a different answer to this question. But if you ask me, right, when you lose that weight, you lose extra weight. You're not losing that power. So I don't see a drop off. I still think at 6'2", 225 pounds, he's still going to be that dude that it's like kind of like Will Howard with the QB sneak. It was a guaranteed 100% yard to, I think we were averaging 3 yards a carry on the QB sneak at one point in time last season. Now, I don't think you're going to be able to, especially with this offensive line. I think at 6'2", 225 pounds, with having the power of used to weighing 238 pounds running around a football field, I think he's going to have that same power to push through and get those downs. But interesting take. You know what I'm saying? Interesting debate there. It can go either way. But ultimately, whatever, I'm sure that question has been raised in the Woody and Coach Locke and Ryan Day. They got it figured out. I'm not saying he's going to get down to 225. I just know 100% without a doubt they want him to lose weight. That's a fact.
For sure.
But how much? That's a good question. But none of us have said who we think the starter is going to be.
Peoples.
I think you're going to see the same thing we saw last year with Trey started some, Quinchon. I think it's going to be James and CJ start. That's my take on the matter. I think they're in love with the 2-back system, and they saw how fresh our running backs were in the playoffs. So I think you're going to see that again this year. Mel, who do you think is going to start?
I think it's going to be Peoples, and I do think they're going to rotate, but I think Peoples is going to be the main guy. I think that's how I feel. And then I think it's going to be a battle between CJ Snaps and Turbo or Bo Jackson. Isaiah West, unfortunately, won't be ready until August. He got hurt at the end of his season, high school season. So he won't be back until the end of August. So I don't think he's going to have a significant role. And then you're going to have Sam Williams-Dixon and Turbo Rogers and Bo Jackson. So with CJ. But I think the main two are going to be CJ and James People.
Yeah. I forgot to add in the portal thing. We already went in the portal and got one. I think we're done there. But I've actually heard people say that they're going to go get another one, surprisingly. But I don't see that.
I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I think the great thing about that room is they got different varieties of backs. I mean, CJ is a different back that we haven't had here for a very long time. I mean, you got a goal line back, a bigger, stronger guy that can get you the short yardage. He can wear defense out, and I can see him losing a few pounds. So you want him to have his cardio up. So if you want him to run the clock out at the end of the game, he can go from take 5 or 6 carries in a row. But I think Peoples is the guy that's going to start. And I think Turbo Rogers is going to get a lot of playing time too, because he gives you something that we haven't had here since Curtis Samuel, and that's a scat back out of the backfield.
Yeah,
that's actually agreeing with Devin. Now that I think about it, I think he does. I think you're right about him losing weight because muscle is weighs twice as much as fat. So if he's losing weight and it's just the fat and he's not cutting muscle, then you're 100% right.
Yeah, and that's what I was told. That extra weight that he had on was carrying around a little bit of fat with him. But that's the other thing about this running back position is it's the easiest position for a freshman to come in and get on the field, right? You want to be a freshman and you want to play, and you're a running back. You got the best chance. Look how many freshman running backs you see every single year. So it's a little different. The Turbo and Bo and Isaiah. They can easily be in the rotation. So we definitely don't need another one in the portal. Here we go. O-line. Luke Montgomery. We know about him. Gabe Van Sickle, 6'5", 285, lower ranked. I believe he was committed to Northwestern, and we flipped him at the very last second. One point in time. Heard a little bit about him coming out of the Woody. Good things. Josh Padilla, former wrestler, 6'4", 295. Absolute beast. He almost made an impact this year. He's one of the most talked about offensive linemen inside the Woody right now. Austin Searveld, 6'5", 320. Just going to keep getting better. Ian Moore, 6'6", 315. I think he's even with Philip Daniels as far as we have no idea who the right tackle is going to be. I think it's going to be Philip Daniels or Ian Moore. Deontay Armstrong, 6'6", 298. He's a tackle. I believe he's going to be the backup at left tackle. Devontae, 6'5", 303. He's a guard. Both these Armstrong twins, we did a show on them before. Watch out. They are extremely hard workers and extremely competitive, and they will make a huge impact when they get on the field. Carson Hinsman, I believe, is going to be the leader of the offensive line next year, a leader on the team, period. Tegra Shabola, show me. Did pretty good, but he's got so much more in the tank, bro.
Yeah,
like so much more, bro. Like, come on, Tegra, it's your year, bro. Step it up, man. Get mad, get pissed, do something, dude. Ethan Aniwana, we know him. Left tackle, Rice. It's going to be our starting left tackle. Philip
you got
Daniels.
that name down, bro. I'm jealous.
Dude.
Salute to you on that one. I still can't say his name.
I'm not going to try to say it again, but Philip Daniels, transfer from Minnesota. New guys, Javon McFadden, 6'4", 270. Ryan Day's talked about him as a tackle before, but I think he misspoke when he did that. Carter Lowe, 6'5". Yeah, I know. Carter Lowe, 6'5". I'll say Javon McFadden is definitely underrated. That's not a homer take. He's underrated. Plays very mean. Carter Lowe, 6'5", 285. Buckeye till he dies, man. Love the pride that he has for the Buckeyes. He was recruited as a tackle, but all I keep hearing is how he's not a tackle, how he's going to play on the inside, but I don't know. I haven't got into that yet. Jake Cook will not be outworked. He will not be outworked.
We already know that. That's a fact.
Yeah. So Ethan Aniwana. There you go. I got it. Starters. Ethan, left tackle. Oh dang, I didn't really prep for this.
Yeah, it's tough, right? We have so much depth in that room.
Ethan at left tackle.
Hey, Chad, does it feel different talking about the O-line this offseason as opposed to last offseason? Because I know when you're reading those names, I'm like, damn, who do you start?
Yeah, I know. When I get done listing these starters, I'm going to give my little take there. So Luke Montgomery, left guard. Carson Hinsman, center. Austin Searveld, right guard. And Ian Moore, right tackle. Those are my starters for the year. And I still want us to go in the portal and get another tackle. I still want another tackle body in the room. Not saying you got to go out and get one that has 2 or 3 years of eligibility and train them up. We just missed too many tackles. We lost more. We were already short on tackles.
Yeah.
And we lost more tackles than we brought in recruiting or the portal. And we were already short. And we only signed 2 in the transfer portal. And we didn't sign any in the class. Maybe 1, maybe Carter Lowe. We got to have bodies in there. So that's just my take. That's the only position on offense that I feel that we need to go into the portal for. Mello, your take.
I agree. Your entire starting list is set for right tackle. I think it's going to be Philip Daniels.
Gotcha.
However, I could see Tegra. I could see Austin. I could see Luke. Man, I could see so many different people starting. I wonder if they're going to continue rotating like they did last year. You know what I mean? After the starters get chemistry, do they continue to rotate? But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and remember where you heard this first. Carson Hinsman is winning the Remington Award. You heard it here on Buckeye first. Buckeye Boys first.
Here's where I might disagree with you. I think Carson Hinsman is a much better guard than he is center. And he's even said that he felt more comfortable at guard than center. And Padilla made such a big jump, according to what they're saying. I think you can even start Padilla at center and put Carson at left guard. You can move Luke at right guard, or you can play any of those guys at right guard. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Padilla start at center. That gives you another option.
My bad.
I thought I was tripping. I was like, hold up.
I don't know. No idea.
But like we were talking, though, I could see a rotation again like they did last year.
I can see that too.
Mika asked that if they think they're going to rotate on the O-line.
I mean, why not? That's something new.
I know. That's normally my answer is no.
Yeah,
normally my answer is not at all. But yeah, what I just saw last year, man,
it worked.
Yeah, it worked. So
and you know something? You know why I would want to do it? For it'll help recruiting because no one else is rotating on the O-line.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. That's why we always thought. That's why I was so nervous about the Tennessee game. That was the only thing I was nervous about was the rotation.
It's just that the O-line is it's the most chemistry position on the field is the issue with rotating the offensive line. But they just did it. So that's the problem here. So maybe maybe you can develop that chemistry. I'll tell you this, if they plan on rotating, I hope that they do it in practice. You know what I'm saying? I hope they keep that chemistry rolling in practice. And I think it'll just depend on what they see in practice. If they see guys able to rotate in and not, then they're going to have it. Because if you look at the experience and the people we got, it's almost like you got to. I mean, Tegra Shabola.
I know a way you can rotate. So you take your starters. Nobody will be a starter, but you take your first group. They always stay together. Then your second group stays together. And you can keep the tackles the same if you want. And you just rotate the inside. And when you play the game, you do the same thing. Those groups stay together on the field. That way the chemistry is still locked in with each other. And Sean, to your point about Padilla, he's a beast. But if you watch the LaCharles Bentley video, he's training Carson as a center. So if Carson was going to move at any point or had a hint of moving, he would be training more as a guard instead of a center. Not saying that it can't still happen, but I just think he's going to stay at center.
And here's the next thing, Sean, because I agree with your take on how good he is. The issue is you have to have a backup center. It was kind of the issue with the Carson. That's why Carson was one of the reasons why we saw Carson so late. That's what Day said, is because he was the backup center. You know what I'm saying? That they were saving him for the backup center. You got to have that's the most, not the most, it's hard to say, but one of the most important backups on the team is a center. Like you can't just throw a guard in any guard to be a center. You can't throw any tackle. I do think it's a question to ask Kirk over there on Scoop, but what's easier, to put a guard at tackle or to put a guard at center? Which is easier?
A guard at center.
You think?
Because you're still playing on the inside. The outside's a lot different.
I know that, but there's just the leadership aspect of it, the calls that need to be made is where if you don't have that, I think it takes a special person to be a center, but yeah,
no, you're right. You have to be the smartest player in the line.
Yeah. So interesting take about whether they're going to rotate or not, because it's that year for Tegra. It's put up or shut up. This is his year. It's his last year. He has to make a move, or this is the end of his football career. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hey, and I agree with you. I didn't give my opinion, but I think we need to go get a tackle out of the portal. And like you said, it doesn't have to be somebody with like enormous amount of years or somebody that has to start. We need something with depth. And I prefer somebody that at least had 1 year in college of experience of actually playing. They might not have to start at their school, respective school, but we need depth. We need another center another tackle for depth.
I think a lot of these kids, though, we're going to run into that problem, though, is a lot of those kids aren't going to enter the portal unless they're going to go somewhere where they're going to get playing time most of the time. That's the problem with tackle. I mean, a lot of times people don't, like we all say, they don't rotate the offensive linemen. I mean, that was a freak thing they did last year and it worked. I mean, I've seen a couple NFL teams where they've played different guards, but
yeah. Ken Taco asked if the rotation was more of a Chip Kelly scheme adjustment or part of the overall plan. I don't think it was any. I think it was the fact that we had injured offensive linemen, but they rotated to begin without any. We started off injured. I mean, Donovan Jackson didn't play the first game of the year, you know, and Austin Seerveld, and because of that, Austin Seerveld started, and then after Donnie came back, then Seerveld was in the rotation with Tegra. So it was just a weird year for that. So we really have no idea what they're going to do in offensive line, but like I said, it's going to be hard to not rotate. I think we have the pieces to rotate, and if you do, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? If you got equal talents, and you know, that might be dependent upon the play call. Might be if you're doing a run play, maybe you got Tegra in the game. If you're wanting to take some time off the clock, put a big old body in there to push the people around. You're going to be passing it more, you know, put Austin in there, Luke or something. But
hey, at least the one good thing is, though, we got guys that got experience. So we're going to we got, you know, 6 or 7 guys that can legitimately play. So, I mean, taking a step back. So,
yep, 100%. And with all these O-line coaches and brains that we got on this team now, I'm pretty confident about our offensive line this year. Could be up for the what's that award that you win for?
Joe Moore.
The Joe Moore Award. That would be nice. Yeah. That'd be awful nice. But quarterbacks, we got Lincoln, Julian, and Tavian St. Clair. We are getting a quarterback out of the portal. That's what I've been told. It's happening. Ryan Day wants 4 scholarship quarterbacks at all times. So you just never know what that's going to look like. Here's a fact that I don't think a lot of people think of. I heard Kirk mention over there on Scoop, but Ryan Day's going to go after the best quarterback he can get. He's just going to. If there's a quarterback that pops up in the portal that Ryan Day thinks he stands a better chance at winning the Natty with than Julian, this might not be a popular take, but I think Ryan Day would go get him, bro. I really do.
He is a
savage. I
savage.
think he would, man. Not that I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of want, let's develop these guys that you got. And in order to develop them, you got to let them fail and experience that playing time. But in the same sense, I don't think Ryan Day's he's not going to go. We're not in the same situation. He's not going to go pay $1 million for one. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he's more of a, if there's a really good quarterback that wants to come to Ohio State and it's going to cause some tension in the room and it's not going to cost him $1 million, I think Ryan Day is going to bring him in and say, beat him, Julian. If you're our quarterback, you'll beat him. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I think what we're going to get is just a quarterback with experience, a Tristan Gebbia type quarterback. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. Most likely, that's what we're going to go get. Interestingly enough, I think this is just for clicks and for conversation piece, but people keep talking about Lincoln, man, Keenholz, and how he is stoked, pumped up, and fully believes that he will win the starting job at the quarterback position. So take that for what you will.
Take that. That's what you want, isn't it? Isn't that what you want?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want out of everybody on your team. You want every player on your team to have that mentality, though.
Yeah. How can we, let's be honest, how can we sit here and say, no way Lincoln's beating Julian? How can we do that? Tell me.
I just think from what we've all seen and what we've heard, I mean, that's it. I mean, could he come out of nowhere and do it? Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Lincoln, the only time we saw him was in the Cotton Bowl, and he really he was set up to fail that game. So
yeah.
I mean, poor guy was thrown into a no-win situation there. So
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what have we seen? You're talking about the bad stuff we've seen from Lincoln or the good stuff we've seen from Julian? What have we seen?
I mean,
What have we
honestly,
seen that backs up our argument that says Lincoln has no chance at beating Julian out for the starting job?
Trust our sources. That's
our
it.
sources.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen the videotapes of his. You know, I know it's a 7-on-7, but his quick release and how beautiful he throws the
Mhm.
ball.
Yeah.
I mean, of course,
And
you know, he could get
supposedly-
in. I mean, he could get in the game and pee down his leg and stink. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
for
I
the
think
most
you guys get why I'm asking this. I'm playing
yeah, I know.
devil's
Sure.
advocate here,
Right.
and I'm going to keep playing it and say that we have no idea what Julian can do in a college football game. No idea. Not even the slightest clue, man. And matter of fact, the only real evidence that we have about Julian in a college football game is not good. Even though that evidence need to be taken and thrown out. You know what I'm saying, dude, he set 3 quarters on the sideline cold and said go in and throw passes. So it's not like I'm not holding that against him, but at the same time, I'm not holding Lincoln's bad things I saw in the Cotton Bowl and stuff against him either. Now, the 100%, what Ryan Day says about Julian, what our sources say about Julian, what all the scouts say about Julian. But I wonder if Day would say the same thing. Like, yeah, I think I know what Julian's going to do in the game, but do you really know? I mean, Ryan Day.
He already said he addressed that actually.
Did he?
In one of his interviews, he said that. He said, I think I know what you're gonna do, but being the backup and being the main guy is 2 different things. Going in the game is 2 different things. So
yeah,
he said the same thing, but I wanted to answer this to Dennis Moore. I was kind of taken aback by Day's comments about the Cotton Bowl versus Missouri. Sounds like they didn't plan on winning it. So I thought it was already common knowledge that they only practiced like 3 times. That's part of the reason Carson Hinsman got benched, because he was putting out there in the interview on the podcast about the NIL money O-linemen get at Ohio State and other stuff. But like, there's been the truth teller, which is everyone knows as Denzel Burke already said, like they weren't practicing. They didn't care about that game. They felt like they had nothing to play for. Most of those guys, as you know, already knew they were coming back, because I mean, every night Scoop was talking about who was coming back, and don't be surprised when this such and such comes back. So they were already thinking about next year. They didn't care about that game. And then you had your quarterback transfer out. You had another quarterback you never developed, didn't know the playbook, and you throw him in there, and then you didn't play your best offensive lineman center in the game because you were punishing him. So at the end of the day, yeah, they didn't care about the game.
Well, I mean, if you look, Devin Brown got hurt. That was Devin Brown's, basically his addition to
just
see what
try
they
out.
were going to just try out, and blew up in their face.
Yeah, 100%. But no, that's interesting, man. Because I mean, I know I've said on this show Julian Sands a starter. I've
Me
said
too.
that, but I'm just sorry, folks, but we do not know. We don't know, and I guess I'll say it now. The more I think about it, the more I'm gonna probably jump on the train for conversation take, and because I feel it, dude. Lincoln Kienholz is an absolutely athletic freak. If he buckles down and can get his passing and his reading ability down, he's got the physical attributes to be the starting quarterback next year. So,
Sean, who you got as a
We'll see,
starter
man.
next year?
I think Julian Sane. That's who I think. I mean, hey, if Lincoln beats him out, my hat's off to the kid, man. And I will sit up here and I'll root for him. If he's the best, I want the best player to play, man.
Yeah.
Me too.
Whoever's going to give us the best chance to win. And if Julian gets beat out, I will be surprised. I won't
And for
lie.
that very reason, I'm taking Tavian St. Clair.
There we go, dude.
Whoever the best one is, man, put him in there. I
Hey,
don't care if
but
it's
don't
the best
forget,
one.
chat. You heard it here first on the Buckeye Boys. We predicted the starting quarterback. We just
Yes.
listed all 3 of them. So you definitely heard it here first on the Buckeye Boys.
Watch him get a transfer, and all 3 of those guys get hurt in the transfer starts.
Golly, dude. All right, guys. Well, heck of a show, man. I had a blast. Mello, any closing thoughts or statements?
Man, I'm happy to be back here with the fam. I'm glad everybody's been doing well. I watched the show yesterday. B Moses and Dev killed it as usual. And tune in for some big things. Me and Mika's second recruiting video will drop this Friday. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Sean?
Just want to thank you guys for having me on tonight. Let me sit in and cut it up with you guys and hang out. I love it, man.
For sure. Don't forget, Sean and TG got their show tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for that. Sunday, we got Evan Goodwin coming on, an offensive tackle that Bowen has been in contact with and recently offered. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you already haven't done that. Share this feed on your Twitter, your Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. And we're going to be doing something a little bit different here on the Buckeye Boys. We're going to be putting out more pre-recorded videos. They'll be like 10, 15, 20 minutes long because we hear a lot of stuff throughout the day. We read a lot of stuff throughout the day, and sometimes we forget those things. So we're going to be more adamant about when we hear some information or have a thought come on, I'm going to jump on here and record it. Or Mello's going to jump on here and record it. Or Sean's going to jump on here and record it. That way we don't forget to bring it up. We talk about it because we're all the time, when we get done with the show, we're all the time saying, oh, crap, man, forgot to talk about that. And we know it's stuff you guys would like to hear about. So we're going to be putting out more of those. So keep an eye out for those things. But on that note, we appreciate the heck out of you guys. Thank you so much for everybody that super chatted tonight and for all y'all that showed up and interacted in the chat. We love seeing interaction on the side there. The show would not be here without you guys. We're a fan channel. If you want to join, man, it's the off season. It's a perfect time. Shoot us an email. Come on here. Talk some Buckeye football with us. But on that note, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
Ayo.